Hey guys, ClayRepairs here. Today I picked up this nice little dirt bike behind me. That is an 04 YZ250F. Now it doesn't run right now, but hopefully that shouldn't be too big of an issue because the engine spins over and it feels like it has compression. So I'm hoping it's just a carburetor or maybe valve train issue, which shouldn't be too big of a deal, but these things you never know. So just cross my fingers it isn't something too big. It's also got a pretty bad oil leak coming from underneath the case. It's JB welded, so that's not a very good sign, but hopefully we'll be able to scrape that off and maybe weld it with aluminum rod or possibly re-JB weld it, but yeah, we're gonna have to fix that somehow because it's a pretty bad oil leak. But the first order of business is to see if we can get this thing running because the leak doesn't matter if it doesn't even run. First thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and check for spark. We're gonna pull off the spark plug right in there and see if it has spark. Okay, so as you guys saw, the spark was actually pretty good, so we're going to go ahead and leave that alone. Next thing I want to do is do a compression test. And I went and stuck one of those adapters on the end of the hose down in there, you know, to try to thread it in. And, well, I accidentally threaded it out a little bit, and it came off. So now an adapter is stuck clear down there in a spark plug hole. And you can't get anything in there to get to it because there's like no clearance up here. So I'm gonna end up having to take off the shroud, seat, tank, and all that to try to get down in there to the spark plug hole to get that adapter I dropped down in there. So yeah, just the life of working on dirt bikes, huh? Okay, well I got this apart here. I'll see if I can give you guys a look down in there to tell you what I'm talking about. You can see a little bit better there. But yeah, that's causing our problem, and we're going to try to get it out and hopefully still do a compression test on this thing because that's kind of the whole point of this. I'm already guessing it has low compression since it's getting fuel and it has spark, but you know, we want to double check before we take the whole engine apart and really find out. Okay guys, I finally got this thing out. The thing that fell down was just a little adapter right at the end there. So I went ahead and wrapped electrical tape all around this now. That way hopefully this will never fall off again. And let's try to do that compression test. Okay, there you go. I'll hold that there. Hopefully you guys can kind of see that. Well, I think that's pretty obvious. We have like almost no compression. So unfortunately, we'll be taking this apart and checking out the engine as we go. Guys, well the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and take off the valve cover and check the valve clearances to see if the valves are just like really tight or you know something like that, and that is causing the low compression. It's likely just a piston and rings and all that kind of stuff, but it's worth a try to check the valve clearances, so let's go do that. The marks on the cams line up and are parallel to the head surface, so we know it's at top dead center and we're ready to check the valve clearances. I checked the clearances of all 5 valves and they appear to be good, so now we're going to move on to taking off the head. We're going to take the airbox, carburetor, and subframe off. Got the carburetor off here, so the next thing we're going to do is take off the valve cover again and take off the head. But before we do that, I need to make sure to drain out the coolant, that way we don't lose any coolant because I'm not sure what type this is and I don't want to mix them. Okay, after that we're going to take off the cams. We have to take off these bolts, take off the caps on top of the cams, and then the cams will come out. Also, don't forget to take out the tensioner, make sure the cam chain is loose, that way the cams come out easily. Okay guys, I got the camshafts and the valve buckets out, so it's just about ready to pull top end off. Over here I laid everything out so it's easy to remember. There's the camshafts, little clips that goes on top, and the buckets for each one right there in the correct place. Inside there's little shims, so you want to make sure that stays in there. I've also got the valve cover, these oil lines, and a tensioner sitting out here too. So the next thing I'm going to do is loosen up these bolts and see if I can pull top end off. Okay guys, well we're all the way down to just the bottom end here, and we have some good news and we have some bad news. Good news is that the bottom end is actually pretty good. There isn't any up and down play in the rod, so that's definitely good. The bad news is this thing got a little toasty. Look at that piston there. Can't even see the ring right there. The ring is just melted into the piston and you couldn't even take it out anymore. This piston's trashed. And if you look in there, there are some pretty good chunks out of the side of that cylinder in there, and that cylinder is trashed as well. So it needs a whole new top end, but as long as it doesn't need a bottom end, we can still save this thing. If it needed a bottom end, it'd be more work than it's worth putting into this thing for the price it's worth. But with needing only a top end, I think we can make this work. I'll just have to go order up some parts, like a new cylinder, piston rings, all that kind of stuff. And that should be here probably by maybe next week. So expect a part 2 to this video when all those parts arrive. But for now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm hoping to do more bike flipping on this channel because it's pretty fun to do. And I think it makes some pretty good content as well. So if you guys enjoyed this kind of video, make sure to go drop a like down below and hit that subscribe button. That way you don't miss part 2 of this bike. And have a good day.